Okay.
Alright, everybody. Welcome to Two Dicks with a Microphone. My name is Kyle.
I thought it was two dorks with a microphone, but okay, that's better. I'm James.
Alright.
I'm the other guy.
Alright, and this is our first podcast, and what better way to start our first podcast than talking about the controversy of Joss Whedon on Twitter?
I love that controversy.
Yeah, where it's basically, we're not going to spend too much time on this, probably about 5 minutes, but, okay. So, Joss put up a tweet of Paul Ryan shaking hands with some teenage girls, and Joss made a joke about how, they're not all 10s, so Trump isn't going to talk to them. And it turns out they were teenage cancer survivors. And then, of course, the social justice warriors and the fucking feminazis just went all up there and just, tried to roast his testicles on an open fire.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate that that's happening because he just made a simple slip up and doesn't deserve all this backlash.
Yeah, exactly.
If the circumstances were different and the image didn't have the history that it did, we'd all have a laugh about this and be on his side. But since it is what it is, it's just awful that people have to rise up and say something when really isn't anything. We just acknowledge he redressed the matter in the way he could, even though there's really no way you can redress that. You just have to learn from the mistake.
Exactly. And just and it's just, I think, like I said before, because we had to re-record this, but like I said, it's just political correctness and social justice and all of that started off in an okay, understandable place, and then it just went too fucking far, in my opinion, sometimes. Same with feminism. That's it,
but those people just need to cool their jets and really rethink about how they're approaching their movements.
Yep.
Because there's a appropriate way to handle moving forward your beliefs than being entirely hostile about it.
Yeah.
I mean, going the feminazi thing. Do people actually know what feminism means?
It's the
equality
equal
across the board for men and women.
Yeah.
Not women are the greatest thing on the planet and deserve to be treated as such. It's
I always think it's funny when I've seen interviews with there was an interview with Katy Perry I saw, and she said, I'm for equal rights, but I'm not a feminist.
That's a frown. That's a frown-worthy.
So what are you then? Feminist? That's what a feminist is. You just want men and women to get treated equally, and
you just contradicted yourself, Miss Perry.
Yeah. Well, I never gave Katy Perry the idea of an overabundance of intellect. Not that I'm saying she's stupid, but I just say if I was putting together a group of smart, intelligent people to lead me into a new world order, Katy Perry would probably not be on the list.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I just find that humorous that she's so supportive yet contradicting herself by not even knowing not even knowing the proper label that she's associating herself with.
Yeah, here, I can look up on my phone right now what the definition of feminism is.
Yeah, and then I can mouth on about an example of the reverse of Katy Perry. That's you have someone, I probably would catch shit for this, but then we have someone like Anita Sarkeesian who takes her feminist beliefs a stretch too far. I would not address her as a feminazi,
right?
But takes her supporting beliefs in that movement a bit too far and is a bit arrogant and ignorant for her own good.
Right. Well, and this is
every time she opens her mouth and says something and complains about how video games keep on presenting sexist depictions of women. I just want to scream because she doesn't know. She doesn't.
She's journalism.
I'll get to that. But she is horribly just misinformed. Like, she doesn't, like, I imagine she probably played video games in her youth, but she doesn't seem like a casual person or takes the time to look into these things. It's kind of more like, she'll just do like a light Google search, do a little reading into this, but never actually sit down and play the game she's bashing.
Right.
She's like she was like Jack Thompson. That's what if that was his name.
Yeah.
That lawyer or whatever he was back in the day who completely ignorantly bashed video games because he just thought they were the worst thing ever without knowing jack about that about video games. He's just like, oh, they're terrible. They're gonna ruin ruin society.
Well, everything ruins children. I mean, it used to be rock and roll music. It used to be Elvis. Then it was gonna be the Beatles. Then it was gonna be the Rolling Stones. Then it was gonna be the Sex Pistols. Then it was gonna be television. Then it was gonna be all this stuff. It's like every generation has that thing that they think is going to morally destroy their kids.
Yeah, and video games just seem to be the easy target, the easy punching bag these days. Oh, we want to bash video games because it's an easy target to go after. I mean, I think there was like a recent, I think what was it? The shooter. God, I feel so misinformed right now. But there was that shooter that live streamed his acts on
Facebook killer.
Yeah, thank you. I remember there being some networks were quick to blame video games for these unfortunate events, and I'm thinking, you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but here's what feminism, to kind of get back to a point, actually means according to the definition. An advocacy of women's rights on the basis of equality among the sexes.
There it is. There it is.
That's what feminism is. That's what someone means that's what intelligent people mean when they say, I'm a feminist.
Well, I wouldn't even say like intelligent people, just
people who know... You
don't have to be intelligent, you just have to be well informed.
Well, people who actually know what feminism actually means.
Yes. If you know exactly what it is you're talking about, there it is.
Yep, but yeah, it's just, I don't know, and
that
then
what we are strong supporters of.
Right. Well, and then it's just, I mean, it's just like what's an example? Like, people sometimes I've seen attack stand-up comedians because they'll make jokes based on sex, and I'm like, but like. It's a performance, right? Like, it's a performance. It's
just an act. It's just, they don't mean this stuff. Like, I remember a long time ago, a perfect example. Daniel Tosh was doing a stand-up routine, and he made a few jokes referencing rape.
Right.
And then when somebody backlashed him for making those, a female journalist backlashed him for making those jokes. He made some rape jokes relevant, directly towards her, and some people just took it out of like, he's a comedian. He makes a living. He makes a living making this humor, like coming up with this humor that entertains people that are into that kind of stuff. He does an entire show that literally has fun, that literally mocks shit on the internet.
Yep.
That's still going strongly to this day. That's what he does for a living. So just because he says it doesn't mean he means it. That's just how he makes his living.
Exactly. So but do you want to move on to our next topic, or do you want to stay on this?
I think enough has been said. I mean, you mentioned video game journalists. What should I say about that?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, we could talk about upcoming games and all of that.
There's so much up and coming. What did you want to get to?
I mean, we could talk about Spider-Man.
Really professional on the first episode to openly go through topics.
Yeah. We can talk about Spider-Man on the PS4 and how we absolutely know pretty much nothing.
We going in a completely different direction, talking about how Marvel is incredibly effing up their strategy for video games.
Yeah.
Oh god, where to begin with this? I think my problem with Marvel's strategy to video games is that they are heavily blowing their wad right now.
Yeah.
They really want to drive home to people that, hey, we're finally gonna, do video games again. Yeah. But we're gonna tell you everything we're working on right now, but not tell you everything about it.
Yeah. Well, there's an Avengers game coming out in 2 years. That's all we know.
Yeah, their deal with Square Enix to create Marvel games under a license that they have is all, and a light teaser is all we know. And they flat out said moments afterwards, you are not going to hear anything about this for at least a year. No more information for a year.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man PS4 was announced at E3 of last year, and it might as well have been a year since we've heard anything about it, with the exception of a 30-second in-engine teaser to demonstrate the graphical capabilities of what this game can do. We know nothing about it.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, do you want to do an E3 show? Since it's going to be during the week, we could probably do that.
Oh, hell yeah. That'd be... Oh, yes. I got so much to say about that. But that's for a different day.
That's for a different day. But, like I said, there's not really... Like I said, we could talk about it, but there's not really a lot of information. And that's really
It's agitating.
Yeah.
Agitating that it's all speculation. Even Guardians of the Galaxy, which the first episode for that just came out.
Which I actually played.
Well, it was a year before anything about the game was announced. It was, okay, Telltale has the license to... After they did their Batman series, they got the license to do a Marvel game.
Yep.
But nothing was heard about it for at least a year. So I find it really frustrating that... I think it's wonderful that they're going to be doing video games again. I love Spider-Man.
Yep.
So I'm really excited that there's finally going to be a video game after all these years that's going to capture that magic of the comic books and put it in a game.
And then it's also going to be more experience at Spider-Man, because I am so sick of early days Peter Parker.
Yeah, it's like we know the origin story. It's like Batman. This has been driven home more times than we need it to.
Yep.
Whether you're a diehard fan or a person that gets all of your preference from the media you experience, we all know Batman's story, and we all know Spider-Man's story. So stop reiterating it for us. Stop retconning it, please.
Yeah. Well, actually, my mom, I think, was the only person on the planet that didn't know Batman's origin.
Oh man, that's surprising.
Because she was like, why does Batman do what he do? And
why does he break criminals' faces?
Yeah, and then I told her the origin, and she was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm like, I think you're the only person on the planet who doesn't know Batman's origin story.
Well, it's like it's kind of like this is probably where my mom's probably the only person on the planet, with the exception of Bruce Campbell, that says groovy.
Oh, unironically? Does she say it unironically or ironically?
She says it unironically.
Oh, okay.
She and Bruce Campbell are the only people on this planet that still probably use that word.
I use it whenever I'm doing an Ash impression.
Yeah, same. Every time I think of the character, I just think of that line from Evil Dead 2, and I'm just... There we go.
Groovy.
But it's just... So I want Marvel to get their shit together. They got their movies in order. Television is a sketchy subject, since their animated shows are shit nowadays. Because
Jeff Loeb is running them, and Jeff Loeb doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
Because we're already getting... It's like, I don't know, I have not watched an episode of Avengers Assemble. I've only seen a few episodes, the first episode, and I stopped watching afterwards. I've only seen a couple episodes of Ultimate Spider-Man, and I hated it.
Yep.
They just ended Ultimate Spider-Man, and they're immediately doing a new Spider-Man show that's going to air later this year that retcons his story. No! Stop!
Just bring back Spectacular.
Please, bring back Spectacular. Oh, God, turn that into a video game.
Oh, my God. Hell, turn that into a movie.
Yes, an original animated movie. After the Miles Morales animated movie coming in 2018, do spectacular.
Yeah.
Please make that happen.
Yeah.
But I just and I mean they're just it's frustrating, and all we can do is sit back and speculate and wait and hope that they really do that. The silver lining to this is that they're finally taking the source material, and giving a shit about it.
Yeah, like I don't know, like I like I said, I mean, we've talked about this. I'd love to see a Daredevil game.
Yes, I think we can speculate and think if they're really serious about celebrating the lore and their characters, then what better way to do that than take on the less popular characters, or take on characters that have reinvigorated popularity, like Daredevil, thanks to the success of the Netflix series.
Yep, I would love to see. I would honestly like to see a Defenders video game.
Sure, make it like make it like a 4-player cooperative brawler.
Yeah,
like it doesn't even have to be like a AAA game. It could be like an indie, like over the top beat 'em up.
Yeah, like Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah, it could be like that. Just make that. It doesn't have to be like a large scale game. It could just be like a small independent venture. That's you just give someone the license and they put it on consoles for digital distribution.
Yep.
There. That's how you do tie in to your show is by just creating something small like that. But don't cut any corners with Daredevil. That's got to be like a major AAA release. We need this.
Yep.
We need this to be a large scale project.
Yep. But yeah, like I would love to see that. I would like to see. I would honestly just like to see more Marvel games, because I've been surprised at how little video games have actually come out for Marvel.
Well, I think they got most of their energy out in the 80s and 90s and like early 2000s, and they were just like, we're not doing video games anymore. It was all like Spider-Man stuff, and then they stopped doing that. It's just
because that was really the only character they did was like Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think the last major Marvel game that came out that focused on a different brand was X-Men Destiny, and that was 2011.
Yeah.
I don't think, with the exception of the ports of Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2, there really hasn't, when Guardians of the Galaxy, there really hasn't been another Marvel game that focused on another brand. With the, now that I'm remembering, the exception of the 2 tie-in movie games they made for Captain America and Thor when those movies came out,
and Iron Man.
And Iron Man, there really hasn't been games that focused on other characters in a long time. Mm-hmm. So I think this is now the time to give those characters another chance and let them shine on their own. Like, just let it happen, please. Make it happen. I would love a new like a next gen open world Daredevil game. I would love an open world Punisher game. Mm-hmm. Let's give all these characters some love and give them another chance.
Speaking of Punisher. Clever segue. Do you want to talk about the Netflix show? Like, what you want? Like, what do you think of the teaser poster?
Oh, right. I have to say that the upcoming Punisher solo series is my most anticipated is my most anticipated major series coming out later this year, with the exception of Samurai Jack. That's already 6 episodes into its 10 episode run, which. That'll be a later thing, but this is like the big thing for me in terms of like live action media. I love the Punisher to death. I absolutely loved everything about Jon Bernthal's take in the 2nd season of Daredevil, and I immediately kept my fingers crossed that he would get his own show. Like, the second I finished watching the 2nd season, like, fingers crossed that he gets his own solo series, and sure enough, not that long afterwards, he got it, and it just finished production. And now we just have to wait for that first trailer, and wait for them to put it out there, because I just think after the lukewarm success of the movies, he just needs some love again, and he's gotten it, and I'm very excited. As for what I want out of the show, I'm really not expecting too much. I got a feeling that the people making it understand the character. Bernthal definitely understands the character, and knows what it's going to take to really bring him to life, as he's demonstrated in Daredevil season 2. So I really have no like comments or concerns, because I'm just absolutely excited. But the one thing that's got me a little concerned is a little bit regarding its plot. Based on what I've read into, the narrative is really just going to focus more on him. It's going to really focus on him more embracing his role as a vigilante now.
Yeah,
it's going to be and him dealing with his own personal narrative of kind of like in Daredevil, where it's kind of like Matt dealing with his own obstacles, and the Punisher series is going to be with Frank dealing with his own obstacles. Now that he's in the business of fighting crime,
right.
But the one thing that's kind of got me concerned is they've retconned Billy Russo, who, as people might recognize, is his arch nemesis Jigsaw.
Right.
They retconned him and made him one of Frank's war buddies. That's strange. Like these two characters had no connection in their backstory.
Yeah.
So why are they revamping it and making that different in the series?
I don't know. I mean, like that, because like I said, I'm having you talk about Punisher because I'm not a huge Punisher fan, which is weird because I'm a huge Daredevil fan. But yeah, I honestly, like I said, I mean, I'm excited for the Punisher just so I can kind of see, because I've seen the movies, that's only kind of been, even though I fucking love Warzone.
Yes, it's magnificent, and how spot on it recapture it depicts the amazingness of the Punisher.
Yep,
it does a really amazing job at that.
Yeah, but like I said, yeah, I'm happy that Punisher is going to be getting his own spin-off. What other characters would you like to see get their own Netflix show or get spun off into their own Netflix show?
Ghost Rider.
Yeah, I would like to see Ghost Rider. I could see an Elektra show.
I could. I mean, or her first and only movie just was just a dumpster fire. But
well, I mean, come on. It's not like they were working with great material with that script.
No, they were not.
Yeah,
but I mean, if it can work for Daredevil, I think it can work for just about any character at this point.
Yeah. I
just think Ghost Rider is going to be a bit tricky since he's caught in the metaphorical web that is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And that sucks because network television can't depict this character true to heart as he's supposed to.
Yeah.
It's strange enough that they were able to do that in a PG-13 movie in Spirit of Vengeance.
Yeah.
But I want that crazy, over-the-top Ghost Rider that I saw briefly in that film.
Yep.
Brought in his own show where he can really shine and not be bound by any limits.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's Ghost Rider. I mean, this is. I think Netflix is the perfect place to give anti-heroes and give dark, brooding heroes a place to live.
Yeah, exactly.
Give them their own little space to really, to fan out and be who they're supposed to be based on the material.
Right.
Because the MCU isn't going to do them justice. Network television isn't going to do them justice.
Nope.
This is the perfect middle ground for them to shine the way they're supposed to.
Yeah, I would love to see that. I don't even know, because I know we talked about this, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't think is in continuity. I think it's meant to be, but it's not.
I think when it first started out, that was the idea, and then they unintentionally or intentionally just drifted away from it and still just try to bullshit everybody.
Because it's like,
no, we promise you that it's set in the universe. Here's Sam Jackson as Nick Fury, reprising his role.
Yeah.
Okay, you can show me all of this, but how does this actually prove? Because I think after the subplot they did that tied into the events or the fallout of the Winter Soldier,
right?
Something happened where they switched gears and started doing different stuff, and that's when it stopped being in the same universe.
Yeah.
For all we know, it could be like the latest season of Archer, and it's all just one giant fever dream that's just set in its own independent space.
Yeah. That
has no correlation to any of the previous content.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly wouldn't know. I haven't actually seen episodes from the latest season of Archer. I actually just watch the last one. But,
okay.
I mean, based on the ads I've seen, that's probably what it could be.
Right.
So who knows? But I guess it's just, how much longer is this show going to go on? I mean, come on. Let's be honest. How much more life does this show have?
Speaking of shows that maybe shouldn't go on as long, Arrow got renewed for a 6th season.
Oh, well, that's... I can't really comment because I'm only a season into the show. I've only seen at the time of this. It's been about a year and I've only seen the first season of Arrow.
Yeah,
I've seen and the first season of The Flash. So
okay, so
I'm very slow, easing, really just taking the time to sit down and watch episodes of these shows.
It got, I think after season 2, it kind of went downhill for me fast. And even I saw an interview with Stephen Amell where he even admits the flashbacks were made up on the fly.
Holy shit! Confession time.
Well, that show got bad because after season 2, they replaced the showrunner with the person who ran Desperate Housewives.
Oh, God damn it! God damn it! Well, I think this is probably just one of those things that just loses its flair after a while.
Yeah. Well, I think it got stuck in that awkward time period because it was trying to be Christopher Nolan's Batman, because this came out in 2012. So it was trying to be Christopher Nolan's Batman, and and then we eventually moved away from that tone because we went, hey, you know what? Let's have fun with our superheroes. You know?
Well, I think the problem is that a lot of this material tries to emulate the past, tries to emulate something else when it should be doing its own thing.
Yep.
The reason why the Netflix shows, the Marvel Netflix shows, are so successful is because they do their own things. Daredevil is, I will honestly say, Daredevil is so great because it does something different than what we're currently seeing with depictions of superheroes.
Yep.
And also faithfully follows the material. Much more closely,
right?
Than these movies that do a little bit of justice to the material, but do their own thing in their own special way. But it's all a formula.
Yeah.
If I were to deconstruct and dissect all of the Marvel movies, they all follow a formula.
Yeah.
Which makes them all kind of the same in a sense, whereas the Marvel shows are different. Like, we got Daredevil as this nice, gritty, grounded, more mature take on an iconic superhero.
Yep.
We have Jessica Jones having sort of that gumshoe detective kind of little slight noir suspense series.
Yep.
We have Luke Cage being that more of that kind of dark and brooding, but kind of peppy, upbeat, kind of hip upbeat superhero show. And then Iron Fist is, I don't know what the fuck that is because I refuse to watch it.
Well, I mean, it's not that good, to be honest.
I've heard, and I've never really been a fan of the character, and I'm not changing my ways anytime soon. And then the Punisher is just going to be the Punisher. I mean, it's just going to be that character.
What if it's bad?
I don't want to think that. I am pretty sure it's going to be great because it's the Punisher. And even though the movies get shit, I think the reason people like the Punisher isn't successful is just because there isn't a large enough fan base for him. There's a select. It's kind of like part of that minority. It's a select few that actually appreciate and like this character.
Right.
And they're like, because I remember when I was still at Full Sail and I was in a class and we were and part of the discussion was characters. And then one of the instructors brings up the idea of an anti-hero. Almost everybody referred to Deadpool. Everybody, he actually had to blatantly mention, like, the Punisher.
Yeah.
Like, people don't know who, like, one, it kind of infuriates me that people don't understand that Deadpool is not an anti-hero. He's something else. But the fact that you can't ID, a so obvious character like the Punisher just frustrates me, but also just kind of proves that he's just not that big of a character.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of bothers me, but I'm not, there's what can I do?
Right.
So I think the Netflix show is going to be successful because what we see in season 2 of Daredevil, the character is done very well and really captures his own. It's kind of like whenever we see scenes, whenever it's the focus is on Matt Murdock as Daredevil,
right?
That has its own style and has its own distinct thing going on. And then with the scenes with the Punisher, those have their own distinct thing. They're darker, they're more brutal,
right.
they're much more graphic because that's the character,
right?
So I think the show is going to be just taking that and expanding it into its own separate series, and I think it's going to do it very well because I think the only way you can ever mess up the Punisher is by either misunderstanding what he's about or by completely censoring what he does.
Yeah. No, totally.
From what I've seen, that none of that's happening.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how much, because we're at 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's funny how first episode we have to gauge how much we're talking here.
Right. Well, because I just want to make sure that, because hasn't been a lot of news in the last couple days.
I know we picked the first time to start. We picked the first time to start this thing up, and it's kind of a dry week.
Right. Well, I mean, do you want to talk about Logan coming back to theaters in a black and white version?
Yeah, I just read about that, and I thought, awesome. This is great. Because I think on top of the current trend being, hey, on top of theatrical releases, we're going to release alternate cuts of our movies to save face.
Yep.
But now we're also going to start re-releasing movies into theaters differently.
Yep.
And I think Logan, being able to rewatch Logan in a different sort of color palette is going to be interesting because I really like them, because I really do like the movie.
I do too. It's great.
It's definitely in my top. It's definitely probably my top 5 favorite movies of the year so far. John Wick being the obvious number 1, but
yeah.
I think it would be really interesting to see that film in a different color style, and it might give like a different impression because it also reminds me of the black and chrome edition of Mad Max Fury Road, which I really have yet to see, which I really want to.
Right.
Because I think of George Miller, and I think when the movie was being edited and they came up with this cut, that's his favorite version of the movie.
Yeah.
Because because the movie is perfect in its standard theatrical form. There's very little deleted scenes for that movie.
Yep.
Everything you see is everything he wanted to put in it.
Right.
But to think that there's an alternate version of the film that he favors more, that faithfully captures the same stuff but in a different way, is interesting. To think, what would happen if I watched the same movie, but it's in black and white.
Yep.
And there's no dialogue, just the music.
Yep.
Like, how much more of an impact would this movie have on me? So I think it's really interesting that they're doing that. That they're sort of doing the same thing with Logan.
Yep.
Where they're going to take we're going to take this very sort of muted film, because it is a very kind of muted film. The only time things really get, like, a lot of the set design and color scheme is very diluted, and when the only color we really see is when people are getting fucking butchered and Wolverine's getting beaten to hell.
Yep.
So it'll be kind of cool to see the color completely desaturated and see if that what kind of different reaction you get watching it. Mm-hmm. So I think this is great. I kind of wonder what more movies could do this, or what other content can do this and achieve the same, and could achieve a different reaction with audiences.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, because I don't know if an audience would sit through a silent film now.
I guess it depends on your I guess it depends on your audience, because I mean it is, because I know, because I do believe, because if my memory is correct, I think George Miller did want to re-release Fury Road in theaters with that format, or he at most wanted to actually include it in the standard release of the film,
right?
Like when it went on physical media. But for some reason, Warner Brothers wasn't having, like, no, this is how we can make more money, by re-releasing it as a separate thing. Like, fuck you, Warner Brothers.
Yep.
But I think the fact that it's out there, and the fact that at some point when I can finally sit down and watch this, is great, because I really want to.
Yep.
But I hope people don't misinterpret this and think that people want to watch alternate cuts of movies, whether it be in physical media or if by re-releasing movies in theaters. Because I think
how do you feel about alternate cuts to movies? Like because I saw the Mad Love cut of Suicide Squad, and I thought it was actually better.
I think it depends on the movie. Another example that I would bring up is Dawn of Justice, where I think the movie could have been because I think a problem is that to make deadlines or to because I think with Suicide Squad we all know the movie, the theatrical cut of the movie is the way it is just because test audiences disapproved of it.
Yep.
So they unprofessionally recut the entire movie to make it cooler for audiences, and then end up getting a bad reaction regardless. So I personally think. I think they should have left it the way. I think they should have left it the way, because I think David Ayer also spoke up about this. I think if we got to see his actual cut of the movie in theaters, it could have been better received,
right.
Critically, not financially, because it made a bunch of money that way. But Dawn of Justice was kind of to meet deadlines. They cut down 30 minutes of the movie just so they could make it a more watchable experience. Like, I have no problems watching a lengthy movie as long as the whole story's there.
Right, but you do. You don't have a problem with it. Do standard people, normal moviegoers, have a problem with it?
I think that's a real question, though, because, again, for me, it's like, as long as I'm getting the full experience, I will sit through it. But even in a movie theater, like, if I'm getting the full experience of what I'm supposed to be seeing from this, that's fine. But I think you are right. Well, how would a standard audience react to that?
Because I know people. Because when I went to go see the Hateful Eight, and it was the shortened version, people were still pissed that the movie was so long. You know.
I absolutely loved the Hateful Eight. I had no problems with the length of the film. I thought it was fantastic.
What I'm saying is, when I went to see it, there were a lot of people in the audience who were getting impatient because the movie was so long.
I think it's just a problem with films just trying to narrow down that general audience.
Yeah.
But I think they need to stop being paranoid and they need to persevere.
Yeah.
If people are going to be dedicated and watch these movies because they're interested, they will watch these movies.
Yep.
And the people that don't, then that's not your audience.
Yep.
You know that these people are not included in your should not be included in your demographic.
Yeah,
it's just people that actually endure and sit through these movies, and that's a bit of a tough sell to say that you should not these movies should not care about that. That is, I understand that that's a big request, but I think that's a gamble worth making if it means getting better movies in theaters.
Yep.
Because I'm getting kind of tired of the idea of all of these alternate cuts being released after the film is shown in theaters. Like, I have to go out of my way to watch the full cut of Suicide Squad. I have to go out of my way. I still have to go out of my way to watch an alternate cut of the Wolverine that includes all the violence they cut out to give it a PG-13 rating.
Yeah.
I have to go out of my way to watch an alternate cut of Days of Future Past that includes all of Anna Paquin's scenes. Like, I find this frustrating. Like, I should be seeing these in theaters.
Right. So...
And it bothers me just a little bit that, I have to watch these alternate cuts, but I'm not losing a lot of sleep over it. It's just, I understand that it's kind of a confusing time, and they're probably figuring this out. But please, figure it out fast, because...
Yeah.
If I go to the theater this summer and watch Spider-Man Homecoming and find out that there was a chunk of the movie that was cut out to meet deadlines or because test audiences or whatever, I'm going to be furious. I'm going to be a little furious.
No, absolutely. Speaking of
if I go to see Avengers Infinity War Part 1 next year and find that it's missing content, I'm going to be frustrated because it's why? Why would you do this? You're affecting you're not only affecting the creative vision of the filmmakers and probably the cast who are working hard to make this movie, but you're also negatively impacting the audience's experience here.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be pissed if I go to Infinity War and the first part of that whole first part Avengers movie, I'm going to be pissed if that whole thing is just Thanos getting the stones and then at the end of the movie he gets the gauntlet.
Well, I mean, how do you want to see them approach that? Like, how do you want them to approach that?
I think they should start setting up in post-credit scenes, have Thanos start collecting the stones.
Okay.
And then the first movie is just him completely wiping out the Avengers. And then the second movie is them like rising from the ashes.
Okay. Okay, I think that does sound better because you're right. I don't want to watch it like a race against the clock. Like, we have to stop the villain from getting all the pieces to make their doomsday weapon, and then he makes it, and then they're royally like it's taking that one of those typical stories and stretching it for 2 movies.
Yeah.
When they should be building up. When I think you're right, I think first part should be building up to shouldn't be building up to that. Should be him royally screwing things up, and it should be them figuring out how to fight it.
Yeah.
Like, what do we do? How do we defeat this gargantuan threat that could be a critical threat that could kill a lot of lives and whatnot?
Yeah. But it's just like, for me, it's like, because when you do Thanos is the guy who's everything. Like, if you do Thanos, usually the entire universe is involved. You know, how do you, like, and, you know, he's got to feel like somebody you can just...
Yeah, but I think that are gonna fight for a bit more creative freedom to do this how they want to do it.
Yeah. Well, my thing is, like...
Because they did... The Winter Soldier is a perfect movie in my book. It's the whole package. Civil War, I have my complaints. I feel like they had to make some compromises here and there, but I think the gist of what they wanted to do was achieved.
Yep.
And I get the feeling that Infinity War, though it's going to be a larger scale film since it's got 3 key groups of people in the mix.
Which I'm hoping for a 4th, because I want Defenders to show up in that movie in some capacity.
Yeah, well, you mentioned to me, they got dozens of main characters that are going to be in the film.
Yeah, apparently there's going to be like 67 characters.
So what better way to finally give what fans they want by officially hitting the switch and say, or bridging the gap and say, yes, these are in the same universe by having the Defenders and the Punisher show up.
Yeah. No, like, I'm just saying, like, because, like, this is the culmination of everything Marvel's been building to.
Yes.
You know what I mean? This is their kind of grand finale, if you will. I mean, the MCU's going to keep going after this, but...
I think from this, they're going to start going more deeper into the lore, searching for other characters to work with.
Kang the Conqueror?
Possibly.
Yeah. But
I think the reason why the bridge seems more likely, because in the Winter Soldier, the Russo brothers hinted at wanting to work with the Punisher, wanting to use and work with that character when they make that film. In the form of like an Easter egg. There's a in the film there's a truck that shows up 2 times in the film. And they actually hinted and explained that it's a familiar character that fits this background, and that sounded very eerily to fitting the description of the Punisher.
Yep.
Hinting that they wanted to work with this character. So I think that if there's going to be dozens of main characters in Infinity War, what better way for them to achieve their vision by putting the Punisher as a character in the film?
Right, and if you're going to bring Punisher in, you got to bring in Daredevil and Luke Cage and Iron Fist.
Yeah, you got to. What better? Like, if you're going to have all these... Because you got to bring all hands on deck. You can't just have this small superhero team fight this large threat. They're going to... Like, since this is the first time they're encountering them, we're going to need all the people they can get.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's Thanos versus everybody.
Yes, it's... And everybody translate... Instead of being, like, the whole Marvel Universe, which I would love to see, it translates to all the characters that they have under
everybody minus the X-Men and the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I would love to see them, but since it just doesn't work that way, it's gonna be basically a translation to every character that we have at our disposal presently, including the Netflix shows, which are heavily referencing events in the movies.
Which wouldn't it be hilarious if at the end of Infinity War Part 2 or whatever they're going to call it, Howard the Duck just defeats Thanos?
I don't know how I feel about Howard the Duck showing up. I've never been a fan of that character.
No, but I'm saying just make it like the most anticlimactic thing where it's just this character who never even got a movie just shows up and just beats Thanos.
Yeah, he had like less than a minute of screen time in Guardians of the Galaxy, just like he shows up out of nowhere.
Yes.
Or give the people what they really want and have Squirrel Girl do it.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Well, I think that's... I don't know what's the likelihood of that ever happening because I believe there is a show that's in development that's going to feature her and other characters.
Yeah. Well, apparently Anna Kendrick wants to play Squirrel Girl.
That I do know, and I think she would be great because she's just... I always find Anna Kendrick like a sweetheart. She's just great.
Yeah. No, but
just a very cute and innocent person. So what better way to have her play like a cute and innocent character?
Yeah.
Like a campy hero. It's like perfect. Let her do that.
Yeah, but no, like yeah. Like I said, I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see how long Avengers: Infinity War is going to be. Like that first movie.
I'm willing to bet 2.5 hours.
I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled a 3-hour movie.
I wouldn't be surprised that when this is all said and done, they're going to release like an extended cut that puts both parts together as one movie.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either.
I would not be surprised if they recut both of those movies into one.
Yep.
It's going to be long. But I could sit through that.
Yeah, and
I think what I would actually love to do is go to one of those promotional movie marathons that they do every time a new Marvel film comes out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would love to go to one of those.
I've always wanted to go to one of those. Because I would just love to sit in the theater for several hours and just watch these movies back to back. The only time I ever got that experience was a Die Hard marathon. To see a pre-screening of A Good Day to Die Hard.
Oh no, you poor person.
Don't. I love those movies no matter what.
Really, even Die Hard 5?
Yes.
Why?
I just grew up with John McClane.
He's not John McClane in that movie.
He's getting too old for this shit, and he's reconnecting with his kids. It's fine.
He gets on a plane and doesn't complain about flying within the first minute of screen time.
There are bits and pieces that I would have changed to make it more authentic, but it's a Die Hard movie. I love it.
By bits and pieces, do you mean the whole screenplay and the whole movie?
There's this part. I'm willing to say this these days that there are things that I would change, but I no matter what, as a fan, I love the film. So, and it's funny that you bring that up because I got so much shit in high school, leaving school, like staying out of school for 2 days. Yeah. To sit in the theater for several hours to watch a Die Hard man. Because the people that I knew weren't fans of that franchise to begin with, so they thought the idea of me going to a theater for an entire day to watch those movies was stupid. Like, no, I grew up with these movies. Yeah. I love them so much. So if you got a problem with that, leave me alone. Because if you were in my shoes, you would probably do the same thing. If there was a film franchise that had a sequel coming out, you would probably do the same thing. Don't go giving me shit for this. So if when Marvel inevitably does like a promotional thing with theater chains to do a marathon, I think I'm finally gonna say I want to go see. I'm gonna go to one of those because I'm optimistically looking forward to Infinity War Part 1. So I think to watch these movies again theater because I think I really do think the best environment to watch those movies is in a theater where you get like a great viewing experience. Yeah. I mean, yeah, sure, it's fun to watch these at home, but I kind of think that I've always enjoyed the theater experience. Yeah. No, so it'll be neat to see that. I actually think it'd be pretty cool if they actually did like a screening of like the Marvel shows on a big screen.
Well, they want to do the Inhumans pilot as a movie.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I know it's in production now. I know Anson Mount is playing. What's it? Black. Black Bolt is his name?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well, I just recognized Anson Mount because I kind of follow his work. I know I'm a light fan of Hell on Wheels, and He was He was Sebastian Castellanos in The Evil Within.
Yep.
I kind of follow his work, so I kind of thought it surprising. Wait, he got cast in a Marvel show? Good for him. He's great.
Yep.
Because he looks like grungy white bread, but that guy can fight. That guy's that guy can kick ass when he needs to.
Yep.
I'm a fan. I was kind of amazed when I found out that he got a role in a Marvel show and that Inhumans was finally getting adapted. I knew Vin Diesel wanted to be a part of that, but that just didn't work out apparently.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just
like have fun voicing a tree. I joke. I bet he has a blast voicing that, being that character.
Oh, Groot? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he does all dubs of the character, so.
Yep.
He gets that luxury of being able to be that character in all places where it airs.
Yep. Okay. So we're. Go ahead.
What?
Go ahead.
No, it's just, I just think I think he's just having like a lot of fun with the experience. I think I would love to work on a Marvel film if it was something I actually wanted to be a part of.
Okay.
Like if I got to be like a writer or a producer or hell even an actor, that just sounds like a bucket of like a barrel of fun just to be a part of something like that.
Well, you're going to be working on something. You're going to be working on something from your childhood. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and I would feel. I mean, I kind of feel like some filmmakers, like J.J. Abrams directing The Force Awakens, in the regard that it's kind of like there's a lot of pressure bringing this to a big market, to a very dedicated audience.
Yep.
But as a fan, I feel it would be in very capable hands if I were to handle something like that. I think if like you and I were to work on like a bringing Daredevil back to the big screen,
woohoo!
We could handle it very well because we know what we're doing. We understand who this character is.
And then I would sit here and be like, excellent. Excellent.
Like, we know Matt Murdock very well, so we could totally.
Oh yeah,
We know what we're doing when bringing him to the big screen again.
Absolutely, I would love to bring Daredevil back to the big screen.
Marvel isn't against the idea. They said like if the success of the Netflix shows is great, there's a possibility that they might bring him back into movies.
Yeah, I told you how I would open a Daredevil movie.
You did.
Yeah, with what I would love to do is like, all right, you started off like camera shot. There's a building in the foreground, and in the background you see Avengers Tower. You see two people fighting on the building in the foreground, and then one guy gets thrown off the building, and the camera follows the guy falling as he slowly goes towards the ground, and then he lands on the pavement, splat, just completely liquefied, and that's how you open your Daredevil movie.
Oh, I might just take that and put it in a Daredevil fan film because I really want to do we really want to do one of those.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know,
I would love to do a Punisher Daredevil crossover fan film.
Mm-hmm. I would.
Hell, I think I need to get like a medical exam to make sure I was still alive if somebody asked me to work on like a Punisher movie.
Well, you could do a Punisher.
You want me to do what?
You could probably do a Punisher movie about Punisher tracking down somebody he inspired.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, I could actually do that. I know a small subplot in the Punisher Max series was was hunting down 3 copycats that were taking his cause in vain and misinterpreting it.
Yep.
Like you had a priest who murdered people that came to confess of him to physically relieve them of their sins. You had a racist, sexist bigot who was just killing people of minor offenses, and I think there was just a random psychopath that was just murdering people and calling it justice.
Yeah.
And he just brought them, and then he just called them to meet them at a church just so he could kill all of them.
Yeah.
So I think I would be perfectly fine doing like a video, like a fan film or a short film where somebody gets the wrong idea and misinterprets what he does and just tries to hunt them down.
Okay,
it could be like his Red Hood.
Yep.
Just somebody attempting to do what he does, but better and in their own way.
Okay. We're at about 55. We're almost at 55 minutes. Do you want to stop at an hour?
I feel that would be the rational thing to do. There's so holy shit. There's so much I could say and do here.
Well, I mean, we can save it for another episode because that way we can we'll be able to watch the news more closely and talk about stuff.
I say I have to apologize to the audience that we're laying down all the foundations for what we're doing, but give us slack because this is a first time effort. There's got to be signs of growth and development as we
and then
this awesome thing.
Yeah, do we want to talk about Wonder Woman real fast?
Sure, yeah, of course. I am anticipating Wonder Woman very much.
Oh, so am I, because I'm hoping that this movie is good because I love Patty Jenkins as the director, and I have to apologize because I did not think Gal Gadot whatever her name is, was going to work as Wonder Woman.
I believe it's Gail Gadot. That's how I pronounce that. But I could be wrong. I apologize if I mispronounced your name. You're a wonderful lady. Yes. You're a fantastic actress.
Because they watch this. Because they're going to watch this podcast and be like, fuck these guys. They can't pronounce my name right. But
I understand. I'm more than willing to admit when I make a mistake. I'm more than willing to admit that if I accidentally mispronounce someone's name, to redress it and do better next time.
Okay, but yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to it. I think Gal Gadot is perfect for the role.
Yeah, she definitely earned my trust and respect. Did
you see the TV spot that showed a little bit of Ares?
No, I have not. I haven't watched any recent TV spots.
Okay.
Well,
because next week, let me just pull this up. Yeah, next week, we can do our Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 review and talk about the future of Marvel and some other news that comes up. So, yeah. Do you have anything else we want to talk about before I guess we sign off?
Not really. I feel like a lot has been said. We definitely covered a lot of ground in an hour. Usually when we talk, this takes a good couple hours.
Yeah. So
a lot to say, going all over the place, which isn't a bad thing.
Right. Well, and then yeah, and like I said, I mean, we can probably just get our thoughts together better before the next podcast, and then probably go for another 3.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad that I didn't get a lot of what I wanted to discuss in writing. I just couldn't really think of anything.
Right.
I think as I mentioned earlier, it's been kind of a dry week.
Yeah. So.
The only eventful thing that I can think of that went on was C2E2 happened this week.
Nothing came out of there, from what I heard.
What?
Nothing came out of C2E2, from what I heard.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, nothing really came out of there. I mean, I'm a collector. I collect collectible figures, so I usually keep my eyes peeled for any updates on new stuff that I can add to my collection.
Yep.
And I was surprised to not see a lot of photographs come out of there. I want to see the new stuff that I can add to my collection because I'm a geek like that. I got I have figures on my entertainment center that outline my top 10 favorite Marvel characters.
Oh, do we want to talk about Thor Ragnarok trailer really quick?
Sure, go ahead.
On. It looks good. I wish that they had done stuff like this at the beginning part of the trilogy, and I'm kind of mad that this is going to be the last Thor movie, and this looks like the best. But
they're bringing their A again to make this the cool movie.
Well, I mean, yeah, they're actually doing the cosmic. They're actually doing cosmic, crazy Jack Kirby stuff, which I'm totally for.
I think my largest reservation is essentially cramming Planet Hulk into the plot of the film.
Yeah.
I personally when I saw the Hulk, I'm not like everybody going, yeah, like Thor does in the trailer. I'm like, oh, because I'm not the world's biggest fan when filmmakers cram multiple varying plots into one movie.
Yeah.
Then you get Dawn of Justice where you have all of these elements that don't mix and just make things weird and confusing.
Right. Well, I mean, I
bet there are examples that can work, and I'm not thinking of them right now. But that's the most notable misfire. Yeah. And I'm just hoping that they approach this well. I mean, I personally would rather just get a Planet Hulk movie.
I would too.
Universal are a bunch of assholes and still have the rights and don't want to.
Well, they have the distribution rights for some reason. I don't know how they have the distribution rights after 8 years. But.
Yeah, I feel like they should be going back any day now, just and soon, hopefully. But I'd rather watch a solo Planet Hulk movie than have it crammed into the third part of the Thor trilogy.
Yeah, which I'm disappointed because, like I said, I would have loved to see an entire trilogy of Thor just chilling around space doing cool shit. Yeah,
I mean, the Thor: The Dark World kind of captured a bit more of that.
Right, but now we're actually going to go to a. I mean, this had my money when Jeff Goldblum was cast. So
I can't really say I was too swayed. I was kind of like, I don't really know too much, like, know enough about this movie. Like, I like the Thor character, but I'm not a fan. I'm willing to admit that. Like, I like the character, but I'm not a fan, so I don't really invest a lot of time looking into this stuff. I heard bits and pieces here and there. I heard Cate Blanchett was going to be in the film, Jeff Goldblum, Carl Urban.
Yep.
Some good names are going to be in this film, but it's just about I think it's just a big matter of what they do with these actors in the film.
Right. Well, and then I like the director too, Taika Waititi.
I'm not familiar with that. With whom?
He did the Forgotten People, I think. It's a new.
I never know that.
He's a really funny director.
That reminds me, I forgot the most important thing.
What?
I have to write. We agreed on this prior to doing recording. I have to write down and tally every time you mention a movie I haven't seen.
Oh, right. Okay. So the Forgotten People. You have to. Let me make sure that's the name of the movie. Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, that's gonna be my agreement, is because adding a little bit of some context here. I am a film buff. Film is what I want to do for a living. As content on this channel comes out, that'll be will be a lot more apparent. But that is what I want to do for a living. But as a film buff as a lightly credible film buff, you gotta watch
Hunt for the Wilder People.
Okay.
Hunt for the Wilder People is what it's called. Because it's amazing. I love Taika Waititi.
Okay. But yeah, as a slightly lightly credible film buff, there are some films
that you haven't seen,
culturally beloved and some a little bit under the radar that I have not seen.
Tell them which ones you haven't seen.
What?
Tell them some of the ones you haven't.
Okay, so I'll go over a few credible, big, popular, culturally beloved films that I have not seen, such as Rocky, The Godfather. What else? A Beautiful Mind. Yeah. Or I don't know. I can't go down like the extensive list. That's why I agreed to do this tally.
Okay, well, we're at an hour and 2 minutes. Do we want to sign off, and then I'll get to editing this and putting it online?
Hooray! Yes.
All right, cool. I've been Kyle. I've been One Dick with a Microphone, and then
it's Two Dorks, One Mic. I feel like I should have mentioned this, but I feel like you're bringing up a better title here.
Yeah.
I still have to send you the asset. I still have to send you the text logo asset for this.
Okay, so do you want to sign off, James, so you can? And
I'm James. I'm the other Dick who's on the mic, even though
we're two dicks on mic. Two dicks on a mic.
Two dorks, one mic. That's what
dicks.
This is actually called.
It's two dicks on a mic because of the sexual play with that. All right. I guess we're done.